Before I begin my welcome to country, I would absolutely love to share with you a greeting. It's a greeting in the language of the Aboriginal people here in Sydney. So when I greet you, please greet me back using the same word. So to say hello, we say warami. Can you mob say warami? Warami. That was such a slack effort, guys. I can see how many people are in this room. I think we can make a little bit more noise. So let's try it one more time. Warami on 3. 1, 2, 3. Too deadly. Good morning. My name is Binui, and I was born on Gadigal land. Ngaya wayenga iora wanarua banjalang yura ngaya biana birigaba gangalu waka waka wuli wuli yura ngaya ngi Binui mithi mithi ngaya redfern Gadigal yura. So in language, I've introduced myself to the ancestors. It's a part of our ancient diplomatic protocols of doing a welcome to country. And I'm asking the ancestors for safe passage. We're asking them for their blessing, for their guidance, to ensure our safety whilst crossing Gadigal country today. So I introduced myself. My name is Binui. Binui is an Aboriginal word from my father's people in North Queensland, and it means the richness of the land, or Mother Earth. My mother comes from here in Sydney, Redfern, and we can trace our maternal lineage back to Burrabarongal, 1824, the Hawkesbury Natives camp. My mother's family are also connected to the Wonnarua and the Bundjalung nations of New South Wales. And then on my father's side, the Birigaba, Gungaloo, Waka Waka, and Wooli Wooli nations from southeast to North Queensland. What does all of that mean to you? Well, it just means I've got a big mob and I'm right for a bed and a feed anywhere I go from Redfern to Cairns. But I am here today representing the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council. And with the blessing of my elders, I want to warmly and sincerely welcome you to the lands of the Gadi. And in language, we say, Wan Gadi Warami, hello and welcome. Wan Gadi Gamarara, welcome my friends. Wan Gadi Gadigal Nyura, welcome to the lands of the Gadigal. Now, for those that don't know, Gadi means grass tree, and Gal is the suffix for man. But they weren't all Gadi, they weren't all men. So, Gadi, the grass tree clan. The totem for the land that you walk upon today is the Sand Gowenna, and our ancestral dreaming spirit we call Gawara, our whale. I want to pay respects to all First Nations, the First Nations across this beautiful country we call Australia. I want to pay respects to elders, not only the elders of this land, I want to pay my respects to your elders as well, because without all of our elders, we wouldn't be here today. So I pay my respects to all First Nations peoples in this room, joining online and across the country. I also acknowledge our non-Indigenous brothers and sisters who call Australia home and walk with us in the spirit of reconciliation. So in closing, I want to share with you that this welcome to country, it is an invitation. It's an invitation to walk with Aboriginal people, not only in the spirit of reconciliation, but in the spirit of keeping this ancient culture alive and this country strong so we can all thrive as one people. I now would like to share with you 2 words before I leave. One of them is Gidjirigora, as I said to Nari, which means thank you. And I want you to repeat one more word after me. Can you all say Yanu Yanu? That means you want to see me again. Thank you so much for the invitation. Welcome to the lands of the Gadi, and may the ancestors and creator spirit protect you. Thank you.
Agentforce. A year ago, Agentforce was just a whisper. An idea. Today, it's the fastest growing product we've ever launched.
Let's talk about Salesforce unveiling Agentforce.
Tell us how big companies are using Agentforce.
It's not just what is possible, it's what you are going to make possible. Humans with agents driving customer success together. This is what AI was meant to be.
But this story isn't just about scale. It's about something more profound. It's about a choice. Is AI going to replace us? Or are we going to be in command of it? At Salesforce, we've made our choice. We're building AI that elevates people, where agents handle the busy work, so we can focus on the work that matters. Because AI, when built with trust, it elevates your people. It helps them move faster, think deeper, and connect more meaningfully. Agentforce has now handled more than 1.5 million customer service requests at Salesforce. Now, that's not just a milestone. That's over 1 million questions answered with precision, 1 million customers understood with empathy and care. And most of all, more than 1 million times our people were empowered to drive greater value. Okay, the future of work, it's not artificial. It's profoundly human. Around the world, companies are embracing this new way of working, where people and AI partner together across every function, in every corner of the enterprise. And when that collaboration works, it doesn't just change how companies perform, it changes how people feel about their time, their impact, their purpose. More time to solve, more energy to connect, more humanity in the loop. This is the Agentic Enterprise, a transformation designed for people, powered by AI, built on trust. And here's the truth. AI doesn't feel. AI, it doesn't care. But we do. And that's what sets us apart. Because the real miracle isn't building machines that think like us. It's building an enterprise where people can become everything they're capable of being. So welcome to the Agentic Enterprise.
Please welcome EVP and GM, Australia and New Zealand, Salesforce, Frank Philman.
Woo! Good morning, Sydney. It's great to be back. It's hard to beat an Aussie summer. We're over in Melbourne for the Australian Open, over to Adelaide for Live Golf, and now we bring all this electricity right here to Sydney. Today we want to inspire you, we want to challenge you, but most importantly, we want to thank you. We want to thank our customers, our partners, our sponsors, our trailblazers, the marketing team that spent a whole year pulling this together. We've got 10,000 people here at the ICC and thousands more online. Thank you all for taking time out of your day to spend with us. This day is all about you. At Salesforce, we believe that values create value. Trust is our number one value, and it always has been. It's a complicated topic. How do you get trust into the data layer, the architecture layer, the trust layer, the governance layer, the ethical use of AI layer? It's complicated. We have an Office of Ethical and Humane Use. That's all they do, is try to figure out the right things to do with AI. Customer success, that's what fuels us. You heard from Peter and from Paulie. We have people whose entire job is to make sure that our customers are successful. Innovation, we're going to unpack that for you today. We've got a lot in store. And equality and sustainability built not into just the culture of our company, but into the product portfolio that we bring to market. At Salesforce, we believe in doing well and doing good. I joined 15 years ago. We were $2 billion a year, and now we're so much larger. Why does that matter? Because the larger we get, the more scaled impact we bring to the community. And because of our values, we're one of the most innovative, philanthropic, and ethical companies in the world. And that's what gets our team up every day to help solve challenges for our customers. We believe that business is the greatest platform for change. We pioneered this formula 27 years ago, this 1-1-1 formula, where we give away 1% of our time, equity, and product. And because we've gotten so large, the impact is enormous. You can see the direct line impact up top, but now we have an indirect impact. We have 19,000 companies that have taken the pledge, many of which are right here in this audience. Thank you for doing that. Multi-billion-dollar downstream impact. But let's look at our region. We've donated over $19 million, volunteered over 400,000 hours, and we're powering the not-for-profit and higher ed customers locally. Do we have any NFPs or higher eds in the audience? Raise your hand. Thank you for the impact that you are driving in the community. Thank you for all that you do. We love partnering with you. We are committed to this region, and we are doing what we said we do. We're investing in AI skills, volunteering over 10,000 hours. We're revamping our Salesforce military program to help veterans get jobs. If you're a vet in the audience, thank you for your service. We're expanding our offices to get our team closer to you, our customers, and we're supporting Australian AI innovation. There's a company called Apromore that we recently acquired, a bunch of innovators out of Melbourne. You can learn more about them in the campground. We've also invested in forward deployed engineers. What's an FDE? It's a Salesforce AI engineer that we put on site to help our customers move from pilot to production. And if you're like me, every time you open up the paper, there's a new article. There's something new, especially in tech, data, and no doubt in AI. It's so overwhelming, like everything's changing. It's nice that there's some constants. Some things don't change. Our values, which we talked about, and our vision, which is helping our customers connect with theirs in a whole new way. There's innovation everywhere, and it's like it keeps speeding up. You can feel it. Everything's different than it was 3 years ago. No one is out innovating Salesforce. More releases than ever before, which means if you're a customer, every time you log in, more function, more features, more value that we bring to you. And we've been with you at every stage of this journey, through every revolution. Going all the way back in time to 1999, it started with cloud, then mobile, and then social, and then 10 years ago was predictive AI. But now here we are in this agentic revolution, and it's not just new tech, it's a whole new revolution. Why is that? Because we all operate in constraint. I'm looking at standing room only. Some people don't have chairs. There's only so many chairs here. But think about your daily work. Every time you log in, there's only so many tools that you can use. There's an abundance in the market, but how many are actually ready for use in production? That's scarcity. What about team members? Can you just add 20% more team when you got to get a project done? That's hard. What about time? Hey, boss, when is this due? Yesterday. Thanks for that. And what about funding? Zero-based budgets everywhere. The challenge is scarcity is the reality that we've always lived in. That's why when we say agency is going to change everything, this is technology that can think and reason and act and provide elasticity and abundance to solve problems that we never thought were possible. So why do we say every company will become an agentic enterprise? Let's look at a few different things. In the last year, what's changed? There's more headwinds facing Australian businesses, that's for sure. Global countries are outpacing Australia in the use of agentic AI. Some of those competitors are showing up on our shore. We have more local competition too. As industries begin to converge, the barriers to entry get lower, we have more competition. And then let's look at the people side of things. There's this idea of an expectation economy. Your customers want more than you can ever give them. Your employees want more than you can ever give them. And you can see the stat here. If you're operating in a world with a tight labor market where you want to get and keep the best people, you have to have modern tools. And then what does leadership say? If you look at CEOs, the survey stacks right up to conversations I have every day locally. They want speed to transformation that's going to move the P&L forward. Enough experimentation, more impact. Enough DIY, more ROI. Let me invite you to consider something. There's always different camps. We've got the all-in, we've got sort of the experimenters, and we have the skeptics. If you're a skeptic, let me just invite you to consider. If your competition is racing ahead, your people are racing ahead, your customers are racing ahead, your CEO's racing ahead, and you're sitting back, it's going to be so hard to catch up. Now, the good news is everyone's looking to agency to drive their business forward. That's the good news. The bad news, it's not working. Not because these pilots aren't showing promise. In fact, they look amazing. But the reality is only 5% graduate to production. So if you're putting all of this effort from all your team members and all of this time, all of these tools and all this funding, and 5% goes anywhere, this is why CEOs and boards are getting impatient. So how are companies trying to solve this? And why in the heck isn't it working? Well, it's because we've got our customers over there, we've got our companies over here, and in the middle, this giant chasm that gets bigger every day. So how do we solve it? Vibe coding, a UI prototype or a demo that got spun up over a weekend. They look great. A new AI model? So what's the challenge? That's just a small percentage of the overall solution. So why doesn't this work? The reality is, it's totally disconnected from our businesses. They don't know our customers, our products, our team. They don't have the data or the metadata. They're missing the logic, the process, the workflow. It may not be compliant, and on a customer lens, the information getting sent to them, it's not relevant, it's not accurate, it's not transparent. I love this word, it's confidently wrong. This is your brand. We have to de-risk, we have to solve this. There's got to be a better way. To build an agentic enterprise, to go from experimentation to impact, from pilot to production requires these 4 systems. Systems of context, systems of work, systems of agency, and systems of engagement. This is the complete portfolio because the reality is you already have tools and applications and tech that you love. Salesforce is inherently an open architecture with a BYO formula. You can have these 4 systems, which no one in the industry but us has, and then bring in all the other capabilities, and this truly is a better together story. So last year we spent time on this stage talking about data lake. Does anyone have a data lake? Everyone has a data lake. Everyone has spent millions of dollars and all this time putting all their data in this vault, and they lock it, and they got a key. You know who doesn't have the key? The people that talk to your customers. In isolation, okay value. Together, incredible value. And now today we have all these models showing so much promise, but they're totally disconnected from the business. Together, this is how we deliver a complete solution to give CEOs what they want, which is speed to production impact that's going to move the P&L forward. Let's break down these systems. We have systems of context. This is the most important part. It's the foundation of all of it. This is a complete portfolio. We've got MuleSoft and Informatica. This is how we get data from Salesforce or outside of Salesforce via Zero Copy to train your AI models. Now we have systems of work. We know this space. These are our applications. We love these. We've spent decades perfecting these, and now they work with everything else, all embedded with Agentforce. This is the logic and the process and the workflow that runs your business. And it's not just sales, service, and marketing. You'll see CCaaS and ITSM and supply chain. We just keep innovating in this space. And then we come into systems of agency. Embedded in the flow of work, right where people log in, getting work done every day. Powering all of our applications. But the most important part is it delivers trusted results every time. It's what your customers demand, and it protects your brand. And then we have systems of engagement. This is where humans and agents work together, not just on a slide. I start my day in Slack, I end my day in Slack. I use an employee agent called Slackbot before every customer meeting. In fact, I often use it in a meeting and actually show them what it's saying. This is the ability for me to work in Slack and have everything I need, talking to my team, single sign-on to all of my systems. I'm in all these channels, and now engaging with agents in a seamless fashion. We are an agentic enterprise. We have agents across our entire business. You'll see up top, 1.6 million customers being served by a help agent every year. Then we have employee agents. Slackbot's a good example, powering tens of thousands of different employees. We also live in this world of scarcity. We don't have enough people. And so now we can call back all these customers that we weren't able to reach. We have 9 figures of top-line pipeline built as a result. And then because we are a lean agentic enterprise, we've taken 9 figures of cost out of our business. And it's not just us. We've got thousands of customers live in production, driving value with Agentforce, and over 125 live in ANZ, many of which are here in this audience. Thank you so much for your partnership. It's amazing to be with you today. We've got a big day in store. We've got 3 different chapters to break down for you. We're going to start with Pandora. We're going to go to Ozpost, and then PepsiCo. To start us off with Pandora, please join me in welcoming to the stage our Senior Vice President of Product Marketing, Sanjana. Come on up.
All right. Thank you so much, Frank. I have the pleasure of sharing an incredible story with you today, and that is of Pandora. Now, Pandora was one of our early adopters of Agentforce. They're a global company, an iconic jewelry brand. I'm wearing one of their bracelets today, and they operate in 100 different countries. And their mission was pretty simple. They're known for their in-store personalized experience. They wanted to scale that across all of their customers worldwide, and they turned to Agentforce to do that. So instead of talking to you in slides about what they did, I want to show this to you in a live demo, and I'm going to enlist the help of my friends over here, Claire and Matt. Let's give them a hand. All right, this is Pandora's website. And they wanted to create this really personalized, rich experience for every single customer. So they created Gemma, their AI concierge. And Gemma doesn't start from zero when talking to a customer. Gemma starts with context. So if I want to buy a new bracelet that matches the one that I have that I'm wearing today, I can just ask Gemma for some recommendations. And behind the scenes, there's a lot of rich context that Gemma can pull from. Gemma can pull from the entire pricing and product catalog that Pandora has stored inside of Data 360. So this is going to help me with every decision I need to make, from customizing the item to sizing, everything I need to make the perfect purchase. And this experience isn't just about customization and personalization. It's about actually just purchasing the item too. And so Agentforce Commerce is there embedded directly in this back and forth experience to help me purchase this item with ease. But there's one special thing about Pandora's business. I said that they have this really personalized in-store experience, but they want to bring people back into the store every chance they get. They want a really consistent way of having these agents on their website and across any channel bring folks into the store whenever it's appropriate. But if you're using some other agent platform out there, you're leaving that experience up to chance. And it's too important to do that. So they wanted to turn to the new Agentforce builder to build this experience for Gemma. Now, this is the brand new Agentforce builder. It just went live this past week, and I could honestly talk for an entire keynote just about this, but we have all sorts of demos in the campground for that. And this new experience is a completely new and modern way to build agents that are reliable. So why don't we click into one of these topics here for in-store requests. So I mentioned that Pandora wants to bring their customers back inside the store. So we want to make sure that we're always offering a booking appointment anytime a customer asks something about engraving or mentions the store in any way. So I can go ahead here and add this simple instruction to make sure that Gemma always offers this whenever a customer asks. Now, I know everyone in the audience here has use cases like this. You have use cases where you want a large language model to be creative and to do that personalized back and forth. But you also have these workflows that should just work. And with the new Agentforce builder and specifically Agent Script that you're seeing here, you can now make that possible. Now, another really important channel for Pandora is voice. They want this exact same experience when folks call in to purchase a new item. And I'm so excited because as of today, this is available globally too. So you can add a channel to each of your agents that customizes the voice, the tone, your brand voice, everything that represents what you want to show for the customer. Now, I want to take a pause here because Frank showed you an incredibly powerful slide a few seconds ago, all of those systems. And it can be a little bit intangible if you're not looking at something. This is your system of agency, a single agent operating across every single channel, providing a better customer experience. So why don't we just see this in action and call Gemma. It's the best hold music.
Hi, I'm Gemma, Pandora's AI assistant. How can I help you?
Hi, I just purchased a new bracelet and I'd love to get it engraved. Can you help me set that up?
Yes, I can book you an appointment at 1 p.m.
Yep.
local. Our
Yep.
jewelry engraver
That sounds
Jeff
great.
will greet you.
That sounds great. Thank you.
I've set an appointment at 1 p.m. for you. See you soon.
Okay, a few things I want to call out. One, I'm not normally that rude. I would never interrupt you in a conversation, but I wanted to interrupt Gemma to show you how this voice capability works. It's very human-like. It's like going into the store and getting that same experience. The second thing is that Gemma knew right away to set up an appointment because I spoke about engraving. All of that richness I showed you in the builder, that is all of that experience in action in the voice agent. And Pandora doesn't have to build this agent 4 or 5 more times for the different channels that they want to engage on. They can just add it on from right there inside of the builder. Now, this is just one of our many customers that is creating impact with Agentforce, and we have 2 more incredible stories to share with you. The next is Australia Post with our VP of Solution Engineering, Jonathan Hatcher. Take it away, Jonathan.
Thank you so much, Sanjana, and it is such a privilege to be here with you all in Sydney. Now, we've all had that moment, right? Maybe sending a gift to a loved one in the post, or maybe returning those skinny jeans that just didn't quite fit. Well, the business that's been doing that for over 200 years is Australia Post. It's an incredible company. But with rising parcel demand and ever-increasing customer experience expectations, they partnered with Salesforce to help with this challenge. Now, in just 3 months, Australia Post implemented Data 360 and Agentforce to help with this challenge. And in the first month alone, 11,000 customer inquiries have been resolved by this agent. It's incredible work by the team. And I just want to stand here and recognize Matt Brown, Head of Customer Services and Technology. Well done, Matt. Congratulations. Incredible work. And to the team. Come on, stand up to the rest of the team. There you go. Okay, very good. Well done to Australia Post. Incredible. Thank you for your partnership. Okay, so what we're going to do now is pivot to a visionary demo for StarTrack, which is an Australia Post company. Now, StarTracks help businesses of all sizes send and receive parcels across Australia and across the globe. And so I'm going to start this story as a StarTrack seller in Slack. Now, Slack is where I collaborate with my team. It's where I onboard my customers. It's where I help them solve problems. But the challenge with this is that there are so many businesses that we support, thousands of businesses across the globe and in Australia. And so how do I find the insight in all of this data noise? Well, this is where Agentforce for Sales comes in. It proactively delivers this insight into my Slack interface so I can respond to that in real time. It's helped here by this Tableau dashboard. And what it's showing here is that we've got shipping volumes that have just tailed off over the last few weeks for Rainbow Gifts, which is this really exciting little company based in Leichhardt. So we want Rainbow Gifts to be successful, and of course, as a StarTrack company, we want them to be successful as well. So let's ask Agentforce how we can help. So it comes back with a pretty good response, which is that Rainbow Gifts it looks like they're expanding to the UK market, but they haven't started shipping yet on that shipment line. And I know as an experienced StarTrack seller that the problem is probably that they haven't filled in the kind of, frankly, tedious forms around compliance and tax and all that good stuff. So let's ask Agentforce how we can help Rainbow Gifts. So Agentforce is analyzing the request. It comes back with this response. So that's pretty good, but it's not quite detailed enough for me to be able to pick up the phone and have a conversation with Rainbow Gifts. It lacks that detail and that nuance. And the reason for that is because currently the agent doesn't have access to that trusted data. Now, I know that data sits in other systems, in freight systems, in customer systems, but the problem is that data is duplicated, it's got errors in it, and we need to fix it at the source before we bring it into Data 360. So let's go and have a look in Data 360 and see how this is set up. Now, Data 360 holds all of our trusted data that powers human and agent experiences. And you can see everything that's set up here. But remember, what we're doing here is we need to fix that data quality at the source before we bring it into Data 360. Now, I'm going to ask for a round of applause, and maybe some whoops, actually. Let's see how you feel. But this is the first time that we have demoed Informatica on stage. And now with Informatica, we can fix data quality at the source. So please, round of applause for Informatica. Thank you. Super exciting product. We're really excited to show it. So we land here in Informatica in our data catalog screen. Now, this is an important screen. I get to talk to customers of all shapes and sizes in my role, and I'm super privileged to be able to do that. Now, businesses often don't have one or two or even tens of data systems. They often have hundreds. Informatica can manage the data quality across all of them, which is super cool. So on that theme of data quality, let's go in and take a look at the StarTrack account object. So we're here in our data lineage tab, and what this is showing us is how is the data built, how is it being used, and we can start to do some really interesting things like overlay data accuracy metrics on there, which shows us where we've got data challenges and where our data is strong. So let's now pivot over to take a look at Rainbow Gifts as a customer in Informatica. Maybe this new data can teach us something new about this customer. Okay, so you can already see we've called out we've got detail on the UK entity. That's interesting. We might be able to use that in an agent response. What else have we got? I've got some negotiated rates. But there's also a challenge. The same business contact is set up in both StarTrack and in Australia Post. And that's exactly the kind of duplicated data that trips up an agent response. And so what we need to do now is resolve that. And so what we're going to do is go through a process called MDM, or Master Data Management, in Informatica to resolve that. Now, this screen gets a little bit more technical, so bear with me, but it's a super important screen. So the first two columns on the left-hand side are our trusted fields and trusted values that we're going to send to Data 360 as trusted data that we're going to use in the context of humans and agents. On the right-hand side is how other source systems represent that data. So you can see the values differ, sometimes they're blank, and this causes a problem for both humans and agents. And let's go to an example, actually. So contract expiration date. We trust 31st of the 12th, 2026. But you can see it's expressed slightly differently in other systems. So what we're doing here is we're choosing what value to trust, and then we're going to elevate that into Data 360. OK, so we've got our trusted data. We've figured it out. We've got our master records. We've got our golden records. Let's now go back into Data 360, load that data in. And so you can see we're going to be in Data 360 here. You can see our Informatica data is now loaded in. We've created that trusted data in Data 360. Let's now retest the agent experience. So we can ask the same thing again, and what we'd expect, of course, is a more detailed response, but let's see what Agentforce comes back with. Great. I can see already it's starting to come back with some detail. Yeah, OK, so it's called out the UK entity. It's called out this really exciting sounding CN23 form, but it's probably really important to get them moving on this line. So this is a great response, but the challenge is it's included some details of a member of staff, Lena Park. Now, this message shouldn't come from a member of staff. This should come from the brand of Star Trek. So we can introduce a policy governance rule within Data 360, within our data activation layer, to make sure that that doesn't happen. Agents only respond from the brand itself. This used to take hours, but now we can do this with Agentforce in natural language. So let's ask Agentforce to design us this policy. And what it should come back with is a design, and we can sort of make sure we're OK with that before we activate that. This looks good. Let's activate that into Data 360. So what we now want to do is go back to Slack and test the whole experience. Let's see how it works now. So let's ask the same question again and see what we get back. So what we should get back is a really detailed response. That's fantastic. That is exactly, I could pick up the phone and I could help Rainbow Gifts get moving on their new shipments, and it even attaches the form, doesn't include details. It's amazing. That's great. OK, so what we've shown you today is, and you remember 15 minutes ago, Frank spoke about the 4 systems of an agentic enterprise? Well, we've just shown you how you fix data quality at the source, and you elevate that into Data 360 to create trusted data. That's our system of context. We've done that in the context of a sales team. That's our system of work. We've then done that, we've scaled this with agents, that's our system of agency, and we've done all of this in our dear friend Slack, our system of engagement. So over to you now, Leandro Perez, our SVP of Marketing, to talk about PepsiCo.
Thank you, Jonathan. Now, we all know and love PepsiCo for their amazing beverages, but they also have some other incredible brands like Red Rock Deli Chips, Cicada Rice Crackers, and who doesn't love some Nobby's Nuts? Now, their products are consumed 1 billion times every single day. Just let that settle in. It's a lot. So how do they scale? How do they scale this? Well, what's interesting is that almost half of their sales are to small businesses. So how do they do that? Well, that's where their Agentforce comes in, right? And becoming an agentic enterprise, because they can scale their people, their processes, and their ways of work all the way through from their largest customers to their smallest. So let's take a look in a live demonstration. Now, partners and customers and prospects interact right there in the PepsiCo website. Now, I know what you're thinking. Really, Leandro, a website? Does it have PDF catalogs, contact us forms? No, this is powered by Agentforce. It's got an always-on conversational agent. So you can ask product questions, triage service requests, and even book time with the PepsiCo team. Now, right here, we've got Sarah. She's opening a new cafe in Piermont, and she wants to stock PepsiCo products. She's having a great time talking to the agent. But unlike talking to ChatGPT or Gemini, this agent is grounded in all of PepsiCo's knowledge. So it can recommend the hottest selling products in that area. Now, Sarah's a busy small business owner, so she gets distracted and she drops the chat, which for most organizations would mean a lost lead. But not at PepsiCo, because they've got Agentforce. And Agentforce is able to re-engage Sarah across any channel, SMS, WhatsApp, or right here in an email. Now, I know we have many marketers in the room, and you're thinking, is that just a nurture email, Leandro? No, this is so much more, because this is not a template. This was written from scratch by the agent, bringing the context from the chat, even layering in some other information, because it's trying to engage Sarah. But here's the best bit. Sarah can respond, and the agent will start having a two-way conversation. This is the end of the do not reply era. Now, Sarah's actually having such a good chat, she asks about pricing. And this is where the PepsiCo team have put in a guardrail. They want to make sure that those conversations are only had by their sales reps, right? So I'm going to pause here for a minute, because this is a big deal. We just had an agent conversation on a website. We brought Sarah across on another channel. We re-engaged her. We qualified her. And then the agent went and booked a meeting. Think about the amount of time that's spent on that in every single company in this room. It's a lot of time for sales reps. In fact, we just surveyed over 4,000 sales reps in the latest State of Sales report, and what they uncovered in that was that 70% of their time was on non-sales and admin. That's just over one day to actually do sales. That is crazy, which is why our engineering team have been working so hard on bringing to you a connected sales workspace where agents and reps come together. Now, this is not sales reps trying to bolt on other tools or swivel chair to other activities. They've got agents right there. Let's take a look at that. Accounts researched, calls transcribed, meetings booked, opportunities updated. This is what the agent is doing on behalf of the rep to supercharge them, to make them more productive. Right there up top, we also have an embedded Tableau dashboard. That's where the rep can see how they're going. Looks like they might be missing their quota. So Agentforce is looking at what other opportunities can be pulled in to be able to help close the gap. Now, a little bit further below, Agentforce is trying to focus this rep. Like, what should they do right now? Actually, it's preparing for this meeting, and it's just in an hour. So this rep is freaking out, but Agentforce has got their back because it can prepare a pre-meeting brief. So they can jump over to the Slack mobile app. We know reps are not always behind their desk, and continue this. So let's take a look at that. Now, in this, we've had a whole briefing being done for the rep that brings together latest materials, pricing. These things take normally a long time for the rep to find. And then a recap of all the conversations the agent has had, and then some insights. This is going to ensure that the rep shows up confident, prepared, and that Sarah feels like a valued customer, even though she's only a small business. Now, the good news is that business is closed. And so we were able to wrap that up. The PepsiCo rep is very, very excited. Now, fast forward a few months. Sarah's cafe is booming so well that, in fact, she's been working the fridge hard, and unfortunately, it breaks down. Now, as we know, for a small business owner, that's a big deal. That's going to be a lot of lost revenue. Now, this is where we activate a different part of the PepsiCo team, the operations team. And so they trigger a field service notification. Oh, wow, looks like it's come to me. So maybe they're running out of staff there at PepsiCo. So you know what? I'm just going to have to bust into field service gear. Just give me a moment, folks. This is my moonlight job right here. Okay, I am now a field service technician for PepsiCo. And I've got a lot to get across. I need to figure out what was reported, what's the equipment that I'm going to interact with, and do I have the parts on my truck? I don't want to go back again. All right, I'm going to adjust this. There we go. All right, folks. So here's the thing. Agentforce has given me a crisp pre-work brief. Look at that. I don't have to rummage around. And here's the best part. I can read it out loud. That's what I call a productive commute time. Now, when I get on site, I've got a lot to do. I also need to fix the fridge, but I also need to do something that's very important to PepsiCo, which is document what I've done. It's really important to ensure that there's record keeping for everyone's purposes. Now, as a technician, I don't really like doing that. I've just been working hard on a fridge, can't you tell? And now I need to document what I've done. So this is where there's a new capability called Voice to Form in the Field Service app, which, by the way, is also the first time we're demonstrating this live. So another round of applause, please, while we do this. I wanted to show you live. Okay, so I've just fixed the fridge. So just imagine I'm in the cafe. You can see the nice picture there. And I'm about to give my update. I'm looking at a front display fridge. When I arrived, it was running hot at 9 degrees. It's now at 3 degrees, which is according to the manufacturer's specifications. I did that by responding and fixing the temperature sensor. Oh yeah, that's right. I moved the fridge 1/2 meter to improve ventilation. Okay, we're going to upload that now. Okay, so what's just happened? I gave an update, and it got transcribed into it, but also the relevant areas were mapped in, right? So I didn't have to sort of follow the order of the flow of the form. And I also said meters, and as you can see there, oh, that's right, it needed centimeters. But that's all right, it was all worked out. So this is the difference from just speech to text. This is speech to context. And as Frank introduced earlier, this is feeding that system of context, right? So now not only am I saving time, I'm also feeding that for the agent and future technicians that have the same problem. Now, when I was on site, I also was talking to Sarah, and she mentioned that she wanted to stock a new range of Red Rock deli chips. Now, this is that awkward part where I would need to say, I'm in service. That's actually customer sales, and I can't do that. But no, because PepsiCo is an agentic enterprise, which means all of their parts of the business are operated by Agentforce, which means that that can happen right now. So the field service technician asks, right here, can I generate a quote? Agentforce can come back with that and even be aware that there was a service disruption and generate that as well. This is how you move a field service technician from fixing problems to generating revenue. I know all the business owners out there are going to love that. And also for Sarah, as a small business owner, it means that she gets her products faster than ever before. Actually, so fast, they've arrived over here. Oh, I think we didn't order enough for the whole room. It's all right, we've got lunch in the campground later, folks. Maybe we'll just hand out a few over there. All right, so that is a taste, no pun intended, of how PepsiCo has become an agentic enterprise. You've also seen Australia Post, you've seen Pandora, but do we have some trailblazers in the room? Oh, they're quiet today. Do we have some trailblazers in the room? Okay. We want to make sure that you can get started with Agentforce as well. And so to do that, I'm going to welcome up Senior Director of AI Product Growth, Jessica Rathembe. Over to you, Jessica.
Thank you, Andrew. Hello, Trailblazers. In my role, I do get to listen to a lot of your feedback, and I did want to address and thank you, because without you, we wouldn't have been able to build over 200,000 AI agents to date. So thank you. Today, we are giving back to our Trailblazers with something pretty exciting. Well, at least I find it exciting, and that's Agentforce Vibes. For those of you who aren't familiar with vibe coding, this basically allows you to translate your ideas into an app or an AI agent or a dashboard. And the difference between vibe coding tools outside of Salesforce and on Salesforce is that you can turn your enterprise context into code. And I'm actually going to be driving my own demo today. My husband would be shocked that I'm driving myself somewhere, but here we go. I'm going to give it a go. Okay, now at Salesforce, whether you're building an AI agent or whether you're vibe coding, we do want to make sure that you start with a very clear use case. This is really important. The Trailblazers that I talk to want to make sure that I weave in best practice. I'm going to do my best today. Product requirements document, we abbreviate everything here at Salesforce, so you may hear me say PRD, but basically I want to show you that I'm going to be creating an activations performance dashboard for all of my leaders in the room today, so pretty nerve-wracking. Let's get started. I want to tell you, though, that this is a very detailed document, and it does include requirements and the Apex code that I want to configure. And so, summary, it's pretty detailed. I do want to show you Agentforce Vibes today, though. For those of you who have only seen vibe coding tools outside of Salesforce, I'm going to illustrate exactly what you're looking at here. Now, on the left-hand side here, this is where you toggle to your data sources. This is where you can play with third-party tooling, like your DXMCP server. This is where you can toggle to your Data 360, your CRM objects, and even the file that I just walked you through, we're going to upload it through that left-hand side here. Now, when you're vibing, you are creating code, so that's going to appear in the center. On the right-hand side is the UI visualization. At the moment, there's a generic header there, hello world. We're going to remove that and create this activations performance dashboard together. So I'm going to add the file. I'm going to find that PRD, product requirements document, and I'm going to start small. I'm going to add the header. And I wasn't too verbose, surprisingly. Again, my husband would be shocked. But you can see here the actions taking place on the left-hand side, and what we're going to see happen is Hello World is going to be removed, and it's going to immediately know my Lightning Web Components, my font, my size, my color of the header. There we are, activations, performance. Doesn't look too exciting just yet, but bear with me, trust the process. I am going to make this a little bit more interactive now, so I'm going to add a map and data tables. And unlike other third-party vibe coding tools, which are pretty cool themselves, this is bringing in your semantic data models that I have previously configured within my org environment. It's also bringing in my unified metadata objects as well. So let's have a look here. I'm going to forgot to hit enter. My apologies. I'm doing this live. I will weave in some best practice. You'll see all of that HTML code populating here. You'll see here that I'm also instructing very small bytes. If you've ever tried vibe coding tools, don't try to give it a nice long one-shot prompt because your poor advanced developers will have a fun time unpicking your innocence. Okay, now on the right-hand side here, you've got your Lightning Web Components here, visualized for you. And I can zoom into any city within Australia, but I'm going to zoom into Sydney just to make sure we're doing a good job. Oh, yep, the numbers don't make sense to any of you, but Frank, you're doing a good job. Well done. Okay, and lastly, I do have global leaders in the room, so I am going to add some visual charts. And these are going to populate here. Now, oh, it's been a little bit naughty. This is pretty cool because it's bringing in all the different lines of business from EMEA, APAC, EMEA, LATAM into my charts, visualized for my very visual leaders here. Now, I will summarize this vibe coding session today by sharing one last best practice, which is trailblazers behind me would want you to start this on a Scratch org or a sandbox environment because otherwise your advanced developers will be hounding on my door. And once your advanced developer does approve this, this is what we've built today. You can push this into production without writing a single line of code. We are at the very beginning of our Agentforce Vibes journey with you all, and I'm very excited to see what we all build together. With that, I'm going to hand back over to Frank.
Good vibes, great prezo, Jess. Can we give a round of applause to all of our speakers and all of our customers? We've been investing in resources and new commercial models to help you get started on your agentic journey. And it truly does take a village. This is a better together formula. We're very proud of all of our partners, our technology partners, but also a shout out to our implementation partners who work feverishly every day to drive success for you. And speaking of taking a village, I wanted to introduce up a special trailblazer, Josephine Ferguson. Would you mind joining me on stage, please? Thank you so much for being here. It's amazing to see you. Can you tell us a little bit more about what your day job is?
Well, I have a dream job. I am a Salesforce consultant for Blaze Your Trail as Salesforce partner. But it is only my third day on the job, so I don't really know what my day-to-day is like yet.
All right, well, congratulations, by the way, for the new job. So tell us a little bit more about your Trailblazer experience. Like, what has that meant to you, and how do you pass the torch for the next generation?
Okay, so, Frank, it has completely changed the direction of my career. So I was a software trainer, and I loved that. Until I was on a project where we were rolling out Salesforce, and then I thought, I don't want to be a software trainer anymore. I want to be a Salesforce software trainer. I want to learn everything I can about Salesforce. So, of course, I got onto Trailhead, and it was through Trailhead that I discovered the Trailblazer community. And there are just so many different learning options available, and I took advantage of them all because I had this burning curiosity. And Trailblazers are just so generous. They give of themselves so that it's not only safe to be curious and to learn, but you can thrive in that environment, and that creates opportunities, and that's been my experience from my very first admin role to my current Salesforce consultant role.
Wow, well, thank you for sharing. You're an innovator, and we want to recognize you. We want to thank you.
Oh, wait. I forgot to say something. Sorry, I have to interrupt you because that's not all. When you experience this, it's just a natural progression to want to give back and even interrupt the most important person in the room. So I just have to do that because I've had the opportunity to give back in a few different ways. I had the honour of being one of the co-leads of the Melbourne User Group. I've been on a committee that has brought a community conference to Melbourne, and we're doing it again this year in October. And I've also, and this is the absolute pinnacle, I just burst about this one. I was selected to be a representative of Trailblazer interests in Australia and New Zealand on the Salesforce Community Advisory Board, and I still get choked up when I think about that today. And when you learn something exciting and beneficial, even life-changing, you don't keep it a secret. You have to share it with other people. And that's been my motivation from day one in my Trailblazer journey, and it's still true today.
Well, I've got some good news, because we're going to help you share this every day forward. We're going to recognize you with a gold hoodie. Let's go! Now let's get a shot right here. Can we give it up for Josephine? Woo! Thank you. Best part of this, always. So today we've invited you to lean back and enjoy the show. We didn't have enough time to go through all of our customers. We only had a chance to cover 3. But I would love for you to look at the screen. Look at these iconic Australia, New Zealand brands. These are folks that have leaned in, utilized Agentforce to drive their business forward. And I have an invitation for you today. This is a lean forward moment for you to get involved. Join us. Get involved in building your Agentic Enterprise. And I have great news for you. We have a whole day in store for just that. We've got demos, we've got sessions, we've got keynotes. You can build an agent. And we'd love for you to go to the campground. So before we go, there's someone I'd like to introduce you to. I'd like to introduce you to Kat and the campground to kick things off. Kat, are you there?
I'm back here at the campground, but I must say, I feel like I am seeing double. I'm here with a hologram of Frank Philman, powered by Agentforce. You can come down to the campground and ask Frank Philman anything you like about AI, the Agentic Enterprise, or what's going on here at the event today. Let's give it a go. Agent Frank, where do I build my first agent?
You can build your first agent at the Build Your First Agent activation in the campground right after the keynote. It only takes 25 minutes.
That's pretty cool. Thank you, Agent Frank. That was pretty exciting. Maybe not that exciting. Back to you in the keynote room.
Awesome job, Kat, by the way. Kat is dynamite. Now, that's a teaser for you to go to the campground. And with that, we want to say thank you for being here today. Please don't forget to take the survey. Have an amazing world tour. Let's go!